Hello guys, this is Jack, and today we're going to be talking about Toronto Film Festival, which I am actually going to go to this year. I want to talk about some of the stuff that I'm going to be seeing around the whole entire week of the festival. I just got my tickets earlier today since I have a membership with TIFF, and today was very, stressful, but I got everything that I needed aside from two films, which were Sound of Falling, and the other one was Wake Up Dead Man, Knives Out. But you know what? That's totally cool. That's totally fine. And also, was it Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie? That's another one I couldn't really get because it was off sale. But other than that, all the stuff that I chose for, this festival year is pretty damn good. So I'm gonna go run down some of the stuff that I'll be seeing at the festival and some of the stuff that I'm really excited about. And also on top of that, I'm going to be talking about, the People's Choice Award. I think this year it's going to be split between, just the generic People's Choice Award and I think also international, if I remember correctly from what I've heard. But I'll be talking about the potential winners here if, I see one. But let's actually, begin some of the choices that I picked for this festival year. So yeah, let's get into it. So starting from scratch, I will be seeing Sentimental Value on Thursday, and that's the first thing I will be seeing. I was supposed to see Nirvana, the show, the band, the movie, in that order, but Sentimental Value is the other one that I really wanted to see, and it turns out that I'm able to check it out. This is the new film by Joachim Trier. You've heard about this film before since it premiered at Cannes earlier this year. And yeah, I've been hearing great things about it. Renza Reinzova is back, with Joachim Trier, Stellan Skarsgård, Ellie Fanning, and it's about this director who's trying to make a movie about her daughter, but the daughter doesn't want to make the movie with the director's father, so it's okay, well, I'm gonna make the movie with somebody else who looks like your daughter. And it's a whole thing about the film industry while also being about a family, dynamic. Again, I've heard great things about it. I hope it's good. I know it's going to be good because it's Joachim Trier and he has never missed, aside from that English movie he did, Louder Than Bombs, and I think the other horror movie, his first horror movie, which was kind of okay, but I understood what he was trying to do with that. But yeah, that was really interesting, that horror movie, but I'm really excited for Sentimental Value, and that's the first movie I will be checking out once I land in Toronto. Let's continue. So the next movie I'm supposed to be seeing is Good Boy, which is a film by the director of Corpus Christi, which I saw a long time ago. It was a little hidden gem from, a few years ago about, I think it was a preacher who went down to a small town and tried to help the small town out. But this new film, I don't know anything too much about, other than Stephen Graham, Andrea Riseborough are in it, and it's a twisty thriller set in a family house, and there's a hostage inside of the house. But I'm really excited for it. I know this director's other movies. I've seen Suicide Room earlier this year, which was a really interesting film, but I hope this one is also really good, just like those other two films. But then next, after Good Boy, I'm going to be checking out Seurat, which is one of the big Cannes competition films that won the jury prize this year at Cannes. And the only thing I know about it is it's about a guy who's trying to search for a family member in a Moroccan desert, and in the middle of the Moroccan desert there is a rave going on. And the only thing I've heard about this film is that the sound design is incredible, impeccable, and it has a really good solid chance of getting the International Feature nomination for this year's Oscars. And then on Saturday, I have Christy, which is the Christy Martin biopic about the boxer Christy Martin, played by Sydney Sweeney, and this is going to be a really big one because it's going to be Sydney Sweeney's big Oscar push. She lost a lot of weight. She, bulked up. She's having a really crazy year with, her controversies, but also in general, just the stuff that she's been doing lately in terms of her performances. She was not great in Americana, but other than that, she's been doing things, and I'm definitely excited to see what she's cooking. David McCod is doing the direction for this film. He did Animal Kingdom, which was a really fantastic Australian film from years ago, and I've been following his career for a little bit, so it would be pretty cool to see him bounce back or try something different in his wheelhouse. And then next up I have Rental Family, which is going to be the big general audience film for Toronto Film Festival, mainly because of the fact that Brendan Fraser is the main push for this movie. He's playing an American actor who goes to Tokyo and becomes a surrogate for families in Japan. And it's supposed to be a very whimsical, dynamic, and really like funny and cute and just very sentimental film, obviously about families. I'm really excited for it. I think Brendan Fraser has another Oscar nomination in his wheelhouse. I wasn't a big fan of the film The Whale from a couple years ago. I did like his performance in that film, but other than that, I thought the film itself was very misguided and just completely manipulative. But I think Rental Family will have a better, look and taste of what Brendan Fraser can do with his, acting capabilities. But yeah, I'm really excited for that one. And then, also on that same day, I'm going to be checking out The Secret Agent, which is the new Brazilian film by Kleber Filho, who did a couple great films. I remember correctly, he did one film called Baraku, which was like a sci-fi western film from, I think, like early 2017, 18, around that time frame. But I rewatched that recently and it still holds up. And he also did a really good documentary, I think, called Pictures of Ghosts, or Ghosts of Pictures, if I remember correctly, which was a really solid documentary. But he's back with a narrative film. And this time around, it's a political thriller with Wagner Moore playing this like technological expert who is trying to find somebody in Brazil during the dictatorship in the 70s. And yeah, I think this might be, a different taste of what was happening during the dictatorship around that time compared to last year's I'm Still Here, which was, the big international movie that hooped up a lot of nominations and did win the Best International Feature nomination and win for the Oscars last year, surprisingly, and well-deserved. And then also I have Head Up, which is going to be, something that I might sell off. It really depends whether or not I want to, do that, but I think I will definitely sell off Head Up. But that's the Nia DaCosta film, which is the play, super famous play that was, originally in the mid-century England, but I feel like this is going to be like a modern take of it. I'm not sure, but it has Tessa Thompson in it. So I will be seeing it eventually. Probably not at TIFF, but who knows? We'll find out. And then next up, I have Left-Handed Girl, which is the new film by Shin Ching-soo, who is a lifetime creator partner of Sean Baker. They've been friends for a really long time, but most notably, she did Take Out with Sean Baker back in the 2000s, which I actually saw recently for the first time, and it was really fantastic. I heard great things about this film. It premiered at Cannes. It did pretty well over there, and I expect it to be kind of just like, any Sean Baker film. It's going to be very lively, realistic, and filled with like a lot of heart and also pain. And this time around, it's set in Taipei through a child's eyes. So who knows? I want to like check this one out. But the big one that I'm really excited about is Park Chan-wook's new film, No Other Choice, which is basically his follow-up to his last film, Decision to Leave, which I am a super fan of Decision to Leave. I think it deserves, the Best International Feature nomination win a long time ago, but who knows? It was just a really dense movie. Probably, I think, Park Chan-wook's most intricate and probably complex film to date. And this one is really interesting because No Other Choice is about this unemployed man who is down on his luck, can't find a job. He tries to, apply for the job that he knows, and he gets declined, and he gets to a point where he's just like, you know what, I'm gonna make a fake ad of that like job title, and I'm gonna send all my competitors to this job, and I'm gonna kill them. And yeah, the whole concept alone is pretty, crazy and very relevant to today's times, which if you don't know what's happening right now in, today's world, yeah. But this is going to be really interesting. The trailer looks really great. It's going to be, Park Chan-wook going wook mode with cinematography, the vibrant, color grading, and a lot of great, performances of all of his actors. So I'm really excited to see No Other Choice. And then, the other three films I will be seeing on Tuesday is Frankenstein, which is the new Guillermo del Toro film. Don't need to say too much about it because it's an adaptation of Frankenstein. You know the story, but this time around it seems like it's going to be, straightforward and also true to the novel adaptation of Frankenstein with Oscar Isaac and Jacob Elordi as Frankenstein. And then Also, I have the Ballad of the Small Player, which is Edward Berger's follow-up film to Conclave. Edward Berger has really been cooking for me personally. I wasn't the biggest fan of All Quiet on the Western Front. The second time around I watched it, but Conclave last year was really, really great. And this one is just about Colin Farrell, who is a gambler, and he's being chased by a detective played by Tilda Swinton. The trailer just came out. It looks pretty stunning. It has a lot of like cool, vibrant cinematography choices and color grading. It seems like Edward Berger is going to do something different this time around compared to his last two films, and I'm really like honestly excited for it because he's potentially being, you know, one of the most dynamic directors working today, studio directors, because I feel like he's like going to go into a route of, you know, Steven Soderbergh, where he's going to do a lot of these like genre films. Either it's war, crime, comedy, drama. I think Edward Berger has a lot of that all in his, you know, jukebox. But yeah, I'm really excited to check that one out. And then finally, on Tuesday, I have It Was Just an Accident, which is Jafar Panahi's latest film, a super famous Iranian auteur-director who has directed a lot of great films, mostly realistic documentaries, you know, docu-fiction films like Taxi, and This Is Not a Film, but It Was Just an Accident is kind of like his return to narrative filmmaking, as this one is about a group of citizens who were plotting a revenge against a man they believe was their torturer, according to the plot synopsis. And I saw the trailer, I cut it off halfway through, and I was just like, all right, bet, I'm gonna watch this movie, because this did win the Palme d'Or this year, and seems like it's rightfully so from what I've been hearing. And then Wednesday finally is my final like day. Unfortunately, I couldn't, you know, go Thursday, Friday, and Saturday due to the Airbnb situation, but it's fine, it's whatever. So the last three films I will be seeing is The Testament of Anne Lee, which is Mona Fastfold's new film, who is also the co-writer of The Brutalist and is the wife or partner of Brady Corbet. And this film is really interesting because it is a partial musical about a pre-revolutionary American woman who started a religious community, and it has Amanda Seyfried and Tim Blake Nelson in the cast. I don't know anything too much about it other than it is shot in 70mm, and I will be seeing it at the Lightbox in 70mm, and I was really happy to get these tickets today for it. And then finally, I have My Father's Shadow, which is an African film that won the Camera d'Or at Cannes this year as a special mention. And I don't know anything too much about it other than it's about a father and two brothers and a family in Lagos in 1993, and something transformative is happening according to the plot synopsis for the film. But yeah, man, like that's the whole entire itinerary that I have for this year's TIFF Year Festival. As for, you know, the audience award, I think Rental Family has a really good shot of winning the coveted prize because of its, you know, wide appeal. And just also on top of that, Brendan Fraser is a really well-known actor and recently won an Oscar for The Whale, and people love him. So it's definitely going to be a really good chance for him to be in the limelight again. And also on top of that, I think Rental Family has all the boxes checked as far as being very accessible for wide audiences. It'll, you know, tug the heartstrings, it'll give you sadness, it'll give you joy, that type of thing. And usually those type of films win the Audience Choice Award, the People's Choice Award at TIFF. Last year, The Life of Chuck won. It didn't go through with the Oscar prospects, but usually around, you know, this year, once, you know, you get the People's Choice Award winner after TIFF, usually it goes to the Oscars. It's been, you know, a really good hit ratio, but The Life of Chuck last year broke that record, and now we're back to square one. So I think Rental Family will kind of like pick that stuff back up as far as the People's Choice Award winning, you know, the TIFF Award and then going to the Oscars. And I think also, if I remember correctly, there's a separate People's Choice Award for international features, if I remember correctly. And if that is true, because I do remember it being, you know, a new film, a new thing, I think Surat and maybe Left-Handed Girl are two good, really great shots of getting the International People's Choice Award this year. I think especially Left-Handed Girl because it is a Sean Baker-esque film. It is, you know, produced by Sean Baker, and his films are very, you know, even though they're sometimes very closed in with the stuff and his sensibilities, usually his films nowadays have, you know, a wider appeal. Like Anora had like a wider appeal last year. So I think Left-Handed Girl has a really good shot. Seurat also, because of, I think, how the film is and how it's like shot and, you know, edited, and the sound design in that film from what I've been hearing. But I think those are the other two that I potentially think could win, you know, the International People's Choice Award. But aside from all that, any other updates as far as, you know, festival stuff? I'm kind of shocked that Alpha was not in the lineup for TIFF this year, even though it did flop at Cannes. That's a new Juliette Ducournau film. It's like a stripped back drama compared to her body horror stuff. It is a little bit body horror, but from what I've been hearing, it's very stripped back. Unfortunately, it critically got, you know, destroyed at Cannes this year, so it seems like it's going to be morbed for January, February for Neon. And then Resurrection, the new Be Gone film, is another one that shockingly was not here this year. I expected it to be at the TIFF festival this year, but turns out it's not here, so that's really, really sad. And then, you know, I was gonna say After the Hunt, but After the Hunt moved to the New York Film Festival as the opening film. And the same thing with Jake Kelly. Jake Kelly is going to Telluride and other places. But yeah, you know what? That's basically it. Hope you guys enjoy this video. I will be talking about more movies and stuff like that. And I will be, you know, doing some stuff with the Toronto Film Festival, vlogging, you know, doing short reviews, longer reviews, whatever. I'll be, you know, trying to figure that out when I get down there. But hope you guys enjoy this, you know, really crazy preview of the stuff that I've been or am going to see at the Toronto Film Festival. I am rushing because my battery is about to die. So yeah, thank you guys. Peace out.